What is up, guys? You know, it's your boy Kagi back at it again with a new video, and 4 Axies just sold for $165,000. Holy shit, that's 473 ETH. This video is brought to you by Delphi Digital, not because they're paying me, but because they bought these Axies. So the news is on them. They bought this 4 Axies for $165,000. Delphi Digital is basically a company that brings solutions to other companies on the blockchain world, and they do research and other services, and they actually collaborated with Axie Infinity to create the Luna token. So I'm going to explain to you guys everything about Mystic Axies and how can you get started, invest in them. If you're an investor, this is for you. I'm going to explain everything you need to know, and here we go, baby. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the 4 Axies that they just bought. They bought this one. It has 3 Mystic parts. I'm going to explain all of that in a little bit. This one has 4 Mystic parts. This one has 3 Mystic parts. And this one has 3 Mystic parts as well. This is absolutely insane. I am actually like perplexed right now. I'm like, what the hell is going on? All right, so let's explain what are Mystic Axies. Mystic Axies make a statement when someone is scanning your account and show that you're a true connoisseur of the rare Axie market. Like you, Mystic Axies were born special. Only 30% of Origin Axies possess a Mystic part. Since Origin Axies are capped at 4,088 total, the scarcity of Mystic Axies is guaranteed by a smart contract. They will be rare forever. Mystic parts have unique art that dazzle the eye compared to their normal counterparts. So there are Axies that have the same qualities as the Mystic, but they don't look as good as the Mystic. That's what's basically going on here. So rumors and legend also say that they'll have amazing powers in the future as new features and gameplay modes are released. So basically, if you have an Axie with Mystic parts within the game, you're gonna have advantages that other Axies are not gonna have just because you have Mystic Axies. So that is yet to be released. We don't really know. The team hasn't really gone into details on that, but we'll know soon enough. So scarcity details, the most important. This is what gives it value. So here we go. Origin Axies were released during a pre-sale in 2018. They were sold on a bonding curve, which each subsequent purchase increases the price of the next Origin. Each time an Origin Axie was rolled, it had a chance of being born with Mystic parts. The probabilities can be found below. Probability to roll during pre-sale. Single Mystic chances, so basically 1 Mystic part, was 25% chance. Double Mystic, 3.68%. Triple Mystic, 0.28%. Quad Mystic chances, 0.0127%. Pentamystic chances, 0.000299, or 1 chance in 33,453. Holy crap. Hexamystic chances, 1 chance in 34 million. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of that's almost impossible. Well, it is possible, but holy crap. Wow. These are the current number of each type of Mystic Axie as September of 2020. There's 1,141 single Mystics, 213 double Mystic, 19 triple Mystics, and 3 quad Mystics. So now you understand why the quad, why the triple, even all of them. But like, you know, the higher it goes, the more it has, the chances just are way lower. So that's why the price is pretty cheap if you ask me. If you have millions of players in a couple of years and you have an Axie like this, that's $1 million Axies, like for sure. Like for me, in my opinion, right? Holy crap. So a hard cap of 4,088 Origin Axies was set during the pre-sale. So basically, Origin Axies were the original Axies. They were the pre-sale Axies. After the pre-sale concluded, Axie Origin coins were created based on the remaining number of Mystic Axies to hit 4,088. This is the AOC contract right here. You can look it up in the Etherscan. I'm going to leave it down in the description. And some Mystic parts are rarer than others because bug, bird, and reptile Axies could be only rolled through referrals during the original sale. You can look up rarity parts here. I'm going to show you that real quick in a little bit. There are currently 1,375 AOC remaining, meaning there are still 275 origins that can be rolled in the future. This will be reserved for epic contests, tournaments, and special events in the future. So basically with the AOC, you're going to be able to roll Mystic Axes, the remaining. So you need that AOC. That AOC, like they said, you're going to have to get it in epic contests, tournaments, and special events. That's the only way. So there's still a chance for people to get it basically for free, or like by competing or getting into a contest. There's still a chance for those people that, you know, maybe don't have the money and maybe they could just compete for that. And there's a chance. But if you have the money, I totally recommend you look into this and you go all in on this. This is insane. Even the single Mystic, because they're the cheapest one, but they're still like rare as hell. So there's still Mystics there for 1.5 ETH, 1.6 is the lowest one. I'm gonna show you guys that in a little bit. And it's just insane. It's insane that now that I look at it, it's like, that's cheap as hell. And that's going to, people are going to start buying it, I'm sure. After this $50,000 sales and $165,000 in total, for sure, that's going to be gone in a couple days. All right, guys. So the next thing I'm going to teach you is how to search for Origin Mystic Axes. So the first thing you want to do is go to AXIEinfinity.com, go to the marketplace, go to AXIES, and then you go right here on the left side and you choose in the bottom Origin. That's the first thing you want to do. And as you can see, you choose all so you can see how many there are. And then for sale, it would basically tell you how many are for sale at the moment. So I'm just going to choose all for the purpose of data. So there's 3,802 Axies right now. So the next thing you want to do, obviously, is search for Mystic, because Origins, not all Origins have Mystics. So first thing you want to do is choose how many Mystic parts are you looking for. So let's just start with one. So if we start with one right here, you can see that there's 1,141 Mystic Axes with one Mystic part, okay? So you can go right here and see how many are for sale, okay? So right now we have 273 Axes with one Mystic part for sale. So if you want to search for two Mystic parts, obviously you go right here and let's see how many we have right now in total. We talked about this, but obviously I'm showing you here so you can see how to actually search for them. And right now there's 213 Axes with two Mystic parts. So let's see how many are for sale as of right now. We have 88 Axes with two Mystic parts for sale as of right now. So now let's jump into three Mystic parts Axes. Let's see how many there are. There's 19 Axes with three Mystic parts. Let's see how many are for sale right now. We have 5 Axes for sale. 3 Mystic parts Axes for sale as of right now. And let's jump into 4 parts Mystic Axes. So we only have 3 in the world right now. 3 4-part Mystic Axes. And let's see how many are for sale. So I think there's only one for sale. Yeah, we only have 1 4-part Mystic Axie for sale. Absolutely insane. This is all right. So now let me teach you how to actually value Mystic Axes. And actually this is the same process you want to do with any other Axie, but Mystic Axes are a little bit different just because it really is so limited that it doesn't really matter. You know, as long as you have a Mystic Axie, that's it. That's basically it. Like the main thing you want to look for is how many Mystic parts they have. Obviously, the more Mystic parts they have, the more rare, the more expensive. But let's jump into something like one Mystic part. Since we have a lot of those, we can actually make an example of those. So one thing you want to look for is the number right here. What number is the Axie? The lower the number, the better. That means that it's closer to the first ones that were minted, right? So the lower the number, the better. Obviously, how many Mystic parts? In this case, 1 Mystic parts. The other thing you want to look for is the breed count. obviously the higher the breed count, the less valuable it's going to be because you can't make more babies out of it. By the way, when mystic Axies are paired, they do not transfer mystic parts in the DNA. It does not bring the DNA of mystic parts. So that's something you gotta keep in mind so you understand. So the higher the breed count, the less valuable because you can make less babies. I mean, I wouldn't make any babies with them. Honestly, I would keep them as pure as possible. But obviously, the people that got this Axies at the beginning, they were experimenting and they were trying to see what they can make and all of that. Everybody was just experimenting at the beginning. I'm sure it was kind of like that. So another thing you actually want to look for is the type of Axie it is. So if you go right here, you could actually choose the class. So let's see how many beast class there is. We have 365. Let's see how many plant, 305. Let's see how many bug, 33. So that means, it's getting lower. So that means it's going to be way more, rare because they're lower. So let's see, no mechs, no dusk. Aquatic, we have 382. For bird, we have 22. So it's getting lower for bird. Reptile, let's see how many. 34. And for dawn, we don't have any. So for bird, the bird is the lowest we have in one mystic part. So the bird, for me, in this case, it depends on what you're looking for, obviously. But as you can see, the lower there is, the rarer it is. Now, another thing you want to look for is the actual rarity of the mystic parts. So there are Axies that have the same mystic parts repeated all over. So the more there are with that mystic part, the less rare it's going to be. So we actually have a website made by Freak Kitties. This guy is insane. He has so many applications for Axie Infinity. So as you can see, for every part, he has the actual part, the actual mystic part, and how many Axies actually have it. How many actually carry it. So that's another metric you want to look into, So this one is a vector. Ears, there's only a 22. Let's see the lowest. So I think he has it by the lowest. So obviously an Axie that has this part is probably going to be more rare, right? And more expensive than other Axies. So it's a combination of all of that. It depends on what you value at the end of the day. Some people just value how it looks, right? And just out of the looks, something that looks fire and everybody agrees that it looks so beautiful, that Axie might just be more expensive than another one that has rare parts, that has a lower number, that has a less breed count. It's all a little bit of speculation and how people, perceive those Axies as well. So it's a combination of all of that. But at the end of the day, if you stick to the numbers, obviously that's going to get you a better Axies in the long run. You're going to buy better mystic Axies in the long run. That's the best way, I would think. That's the best start. That's where you want to start. You start with the numbers, with the parts, with the actual class of the Axie and all of that. You put all of that together and then you start looking at how beautiful it looks. Okay? So one thing that I forgot to mention is the purity of the Axie. So let's say you have one mystic Axie, one mystic part, and then you could search for the purity right here of the Axie. Let's just go to 6, a pure 6. That means it has 6 parts that are all the same, okay? Body part and all the 6 parts. So if you go right here, you can see that it has the eyes, the ears, the back, the mouth, the horns, and the tail. They're all from the same class. So that means that's a pure Axie. Actually, look, the guy even called it so pure. So at the end of the day, if you value pureness, this Axie might be worth more than a triple mystic. It could be, if that is something that you value so much, right? So it's all relative at the end of the day. So make sure you look into the pureness as well of